Chapter 9. Revealing Jimmy's plan to trick the villains. Hold Your Nose Billy popped a clove of garlic into his mouth, ground it between his yellow teeth, and helped himself to a veal pie. Nothing like garlic to clear the head and fend off the plague. Cutwater, give the lads a ration of breakfast. The scrawny outlaw sliced off 2 thick pieces of coarse bread. He draped a salt herring across each slice. Eat hearty, little fellers. This smelly stuff? Prince Brat glared at the bread and herring. It's not fit for flies. Why, we eat regular, worms and all, said Cutwater, picking the bones of the pheasant. I'll starve first. Suit yourself, Cutwater snickered. This is the first time we've feasted off the king's own table, and there's hardly enough for me and Billy. Jimmy sat on the bed straw beside the prince and contemplated his breakfast. He examined the bread closely, hunting for varmints. The prince, he knew, had never been starved enough to pick out wildlife from his grub. Eat, he whispered. I can't find any crawly things in it. The bread's stale, grumbled the prince. Stale enough to patch a roof, but I've scoffed down worse. The prince began to nibble around the edges. Hold Your Nose Billy glanced over and grinned. Take a chaw of garlic, whipping boy. It'll improve the taste considerable. Cutwater wiped his thin, greasy lips with the back of his hand. Billy, how do we know the prince ain't laid a trap for us in that message? He could have said one thing and wrote another. Where'll we find someone to read it off to us? Jimmy lifted his chin to a regal height. You doubt the word and honor of your prince? Insolent oafs, curs, I'll have you horsewhipped. Cutwater yanked Jimmy to his feet. Who you calling them names? I'll flog your hide pink as a salmon. Hold Your Nose Billy pushed him aside. Keep your wits. It's worse than common murder to lay hands on a prince. No need to break any more of the king's laws than we have to. If it comes to a flogging, there's his whipping boy. Ooh, that would be odd, wouldn't it? The prince's eyes widened and his face blanched white. The prospect of taking a whipping himself had never occurred to him. But, sir, it wasn't me who called you names. Cutwater gave a sudden cackle. Sir, is it now? Oh, that's more like it. But tell the prince here to keep a civil tongue in his head. Prince Brat shot Jimmy a poisonous look. The garlicky outlaw was leaning closer to Jimmy. See here, Prince, it's not that we doubt your word and honesty, not a bit. But all the same, let's hear you read off the message. Jimmy turned away from the man's breath and began to read. No, lad. Let's have it from bottom to top. Read it backwards. I do hope for your whipping boy's sake you don't stumble and trip as if the real words ain't on paper. Jimmy shrugged. It says, Son obedient, your obedient son, said Hold Your Nose Billy. Keep at it. Jewels and gold of cart full of ransom a demand they. They demand a ransom of a cart full. The outlaw himself began to stumble and trip over the words. Aye, that's the ticket. Jimmy read the message through backward, and then a second time before the hairy outlaw was satisfied. Now then, he said, all we got to do is get the message to the king without getting nabbed in the act. Simple, declared Jimmy. Send it to the castle in the hands of my whipping boy. So,